Good morning, afternoon, and or evening. My name is Derek, aka Professor Silly, and welcome to my journey through the history of heavy metal albums. What is heavy metal? Well, it doesn't really matter for us to define it. Different people will define it in different ways. So what I'm doing here is I'm listening to any album that is considered by either critics or by fans to be important to the history of heavy metal music. Who am I and why does my opinion matter? My opinion doesn't matter at all. I'm just a Gen X musician that played some heavy metal in my past and wanted to experience some of the albums that I never got around to experiencing in the first place. And so, here we are. Now, in order to keep this channel going and keep these videos up, I do need to consider copyright law and keep things fair use. So far, I've only had one video pulled, and that was King Crimson, so oh well. For that reason, I will be talking over the music. That is what makes these videos okay to be on YouTube. I will put a link to the original album in my description, so if you want to go check out the album without me yammering over it, you should definitely do that. Finally, I don't think I should rate anything based on a single listen. So, I listened to this album a week ago, and then I listened to it all week. I'm going to show you my initial reaction to the first time I listened to it, and then I'm going to come back and give you my final thoughts. Judas Priest, Stained Class. This was released in February of 1978. Rolling Stone ranks it as the 43rd best heavy metal album of all time. Kerrang lists it as the 73rd best heavy metal album of all time, and no less than 8 different people, commenters, have strongly recommended this album. So I've been looking forward to this. I loved Sad Wings of Destiny, and I really liked Sin After Sin. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. Looks like there's 9 tracks. Looking at the names of the songs, none of them look familiar to me. So I don't know that I've heard any of the songs on this album. So this will be a fresh, brand new listen, first time listen, and it starts with Exciter. Drums are cool already. Wow. Yes. Feels a little restrained still. The drumming really helps drive it. That part feels a little Rocky Horror Picture Show. Very Queen. I have thoughts. Okay, pause it. So I think one of the problems I really had with Sin After Skin, which is why it wasn't an S tier for me, it was only an A tier, was that the guitars felt like they were mixed so far back compared to everything else. Not getting that sense here. I was mesmerized by what the guitars were doing. I still feel like it could be heavier, but that was pretty heavy. After hearing all that stuff from 1977, where like it just would get so repetitive at the end of the song. The last week's Scorpions album comes to mind. There was a couple tracks on there that I was like, all right, I get it. The vocals are just doing the same thing over and over again. I get it. Don't get that here. Like Rainbow and Judas Priest are really good about not just falling into a rut to pad out the length of a song, which I appreciate. And the drumming, just double bass, like was it throughout the whole thing? That definitely just made it just feel like it was just driving. All right, White Heat, Red Hot. There's some attitude in that guitar. Rhythm section. Thumbs up to rhythm section, bass and drums. I have more to say about guitars. Like that dissonance in the vocals. Drums are all over. That's great. Nice. Some cool synth there at the very, very end. So what I'm really digging about this, and this is true on the earlier Judas Priest albums as well, and this is gonna be true with Iron Maiden when we get to Iron Maiden here eventually, when we hit 1980. What I like is that even when one guitar is playing lead, the other guitar is holding it down, and the riff is so cool. And they can switch. With a lot of like the Guitar Hero albums that I'm starting to hear, and I'm going to continue here because Van Halen's coming up, with like UFO and the Scorpions, which both have really amazing lead guitar players. Oftentimes, like, I'm listening to the song, I'm like, okay, yeah, and then the guitar comes like, ooh, guitar. But what the rhythm guitar is doing is just kind of just forgettable, largely to me. Not saying that they're bad musicians or anything. They're solid. They're great musicians, better than I would be. But they're not necessarily as memorable. But then you get something like this, and yeah, both guitars can just hold it down and lead. Maybe the leads aren't as flamboyant as those other groups, but they don't need to be. The rest of the band, the rhythm section and the rhythm guitar, have such a cool heavy riff happening that the solo feels just right. So yeah, I'm digging on this. Still feels a little restrained, I'd have to say. I was hoping that after the Sex Pistols that it would kind of unleash. But to be fair, the Sex Pistols album came out in October of '77. This album was being recorded in October and November of '77, so it may not have been enough time for that punk heaviness to permeate into the hard rock to create the metal that we want to hear. And for that matter, looking at the list, I mean, I've got some live albums coming up. Got another Black Sabbath album coming up. Got some live albums coming up. The first one that I'm looking at where it's like, I'm thinking it's going to be undeniably metal, and even they would say it wouldn't be, would be Motorhead, a full year later. I feel like 78, looks like 78 might be a lot like 77 outside of those live albums. But we shall see. I don't like to research too much ahead of time, which is why I don't really know which of these songs are the most popular. I'm not even looking at that information. I want to try to keep as open mind for each track as I can. So, Better by You, Better Than Me. Actually, that sounds slightly familiar. But I don't think it's in this context. Probably reminding me of something else. Better by You, Better Than Me. attitude in that guitar.
You hear the teaching of the wind. Tell her what I'm like within. I can't find the words, my mind is dead. It's better by you, better than me. Guess you have to tell her how I tried to speak the thoughts of hell so long inside.
Oddly, this is reminding me a little bit of
Tell her now I've
Kiss.
got to go out in the streets and down the shore.
but better in every way.
It's better by you, better than me.
Am I wrong?
Everybody, everybody knows. Everybody, everybody knows. Better by you, better than me. You can tell what I want it to be. You can say what I want it can see.
Tasty drum fill.
It's better by you, better than me. Guess I'll have to change my way of living. Don't wanna really know the way I feel. Guess I'll learn to fight and kill. Tell 'em not to wait until they find my blood upon her windowsill. It's better by you, better than me. Everybody, everybody knows. Everybody, everybody
It's tight. Just those kind of changes sound so good because of how tight they are.
You can say what only can see. You can tell them what I want it to be. It's better by you, better than me. Better by you, better than me. You can tell them what I want it to be. You can say what only can see. Better by you, better than me. Better by you, better than me. You can say what only can see.
Fade out. 70s fade out. There we go. There we go. All right. Huh. Yeah, I feel like they were kind of a running joke I have would be claiming that the best song by any particular band is actually by a different band. For example, I'm not a huge Marilyn Manson fan. Although I think, do I have Marilyn Manson on my queue? Yeah, Rolling Stone, Portrait of an American Family, industrial metal and alternative metal, ~94. I'm familiar with that album. I don't love that album. That'll be interesting. When I was working in a tattoo shop, I'm going to go on a little digression here. When I was working in a tattoo shop, my tattoo mentor was really into Marilyn Manson, and so we listened to a lot of Marilyn Manson in the shop. And so I've heard everything up through Mechanical Animals. I think Twiggy Ramirez is a talented motherfucker. And I really like what Trent Reznor does. So Antichrist Superstar, because it's got so much Twiggy playing bass and guitar, plus Trent playing some guitar, I think, in there as well. There's a lot of stuff on that album I really like. But Marilyn Manson himself, like, I could give two shits about that dude. So my running joke is, when Hellbilly Deluxe came out, I wasn't planning on covering that. That's not in my queue. I think that would be too far afield. Does have Tommy Lee playing drums on it, though, I think. There's a song on Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe called Return to the Phantom Stranger. And I feel like that is the best Marilyn Manson song ever. Rob Zombie on that song did everything Marilyn Manson was always trying to do, but just did it better in every single way. I think that song's brilliant. Go check out Return to the Phantom Stranger. And tell me that's not like the coolest sounding Marilyn Manson song that Marilyn Manson didn't actually do. So I feel like that song we just listened to, that might be the coolest Kiss song. And it's not by Kiss. It kind of had that swagger that one would get from a Kiss thing, and like it could be dumbed down in a lot of ways. Like the drum fills could be just dumbed down, and it would fit right in with anything from their discography. But they didn't dumb it down. Maybe it's mildly dumbed down for other things they do versus other things they do, but it still was far more interesting to me anyway than a lot of the stuff we're hearing from like the Kiss certainly, but also Stars was a recent one. Some of the stuff on the latter half of that first Riot album, kind of in that vein. Right, title track, Stained Class. Gallop, metal gallop.
Wild-eyed and dark-fisted, I'm fused to the bone. I stand contemplating, reacting alone. Impaled with betrayal, crashing on hate side. The tide turns, all passing confusion. So now it's creation, temper disfigured. All axed out and burned, as fire long ago, when man was king, his heart was free, now he's stained glass. Time to stand, he can't succeed. So now he's just a stained glass.
Clean.
Transfixed at deliverance. Is this all there is? Faithless continuum into the abyss. This is my conviction, absolute my belief. I spit at you apathy and seduce at deceit. Long ago, when man was made, his heart was clean, now he's stained glass.
It got such cool changes. Unexpectedly cool changes.
I'm grown in quantity, sorted and vaulted and altered the world, but by doing so smashed all his hopes and utopian dreams.
I like harmonized guitars. I like split guitar solos even better. Nice. Nice. That was wonderfully heavy at the end there in terms of the mix. Yes. But yeah, harmonized guitars, love. And you're going to hear a lot of that in Iron Maiden, clearly. But two guitars, both like soloing at the same time. Oh, I love that. I love when a guitar player, like two really good guitar players, can both just play lead at the same time. There's a really cool track on one of Zappa's "You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore," Stevie's Spanking, which has Steve Vai and Frank Zappa both taking lead at the same time. Oh, that's brilliant. It's so good. They have very different styles, but that's what makes it work so well. Right. Halfway point, track 5 of 9, so that would be Invader. Interesting. Weird mix. Really bass forward. Hitting the bell of the right cymbal. Nice. Very trippy. Interesting. I'm interested to make weirder. Very odd. I can't help it now, but I'm looking to, I'm going to pause it here. That's got fewer listens than everything before it on the album, but not the least amount. The least amount goes to Savage, which is 2 songs from now. So that was a little experimental with some tomfoolery, one might say, in the production. I'm also noticing that well, that's what I wanted to look at. I think this is a remix. Oh, maybe not. The one I'm listening to has 11 tracks because in 2001 they added 2 extra bonus tracks to the CD that weren't on the original album. And I won't be listening to those today because I'm not in 2001 in my journey. I'm in 1978 in my journey. I was 5. So that was the last track on the first side of the album. And so now we got 4 tracks on side 2. Does that mean they're generally longer? The longest track is on side 2. Beyond the Realms of Death. That sounds pretty metal. All right, Saints in Hell comes next. Does this have the most views, most listens? No. Weirdly, Better by You, Better Than Me has the most listens, and then Exciter. Oh, that's not true. No, Beyond the Realms of Death has 13 million plays. That dwarfs everything else. Okay, well, that one's probably going to be really cool then. See, I don't like to necessarily know that going into it, but I can't help it. It's right there in front of me as I'm listening to it. If I had the album, I would not be able to resist like reading all the liner notes either. So it is what it is. All right, Saints in Hell. Very tinny. There's like no bottom end of the guitar. It does make it cut through when the full band's playing. Keeps it from sounding like mud. Oh yeah. Yes, I love this. Love everything about this. You know, '70s fade out. When the song first started, I said, well, it sounds really tinny. And it did. The guitars, there's no bottom end on the guitars at all. And so, like, production mind, me was like, shouldn't we add some lower end to the guitars when the bass isn't there? But as the song progressed, it seemed increasingly clear to me that would ruin all the contrast that the song had. That then when like it would cut out and be just guitars and the bass would come back in, it just felt so good and heavy because of the contrast. So no, I think that the mix and the production and engineering on that one felt pretty spot on. It seemed weird at the very beginning, but no, as the song went on, it made sense. I loved that. Yay. Woohoo. All right, Savage. This has the least amount of plays on the album. Also the shortest? Not quite the shortest.
Who gives you the right to come here and tell me I have to leave this place my home? To you it's a jungle, to me it's a kingdom. For my people are free to roam. Born with the stars, we are happy and peaceful. So now we were left undisturbed. But you ruptured the forest, our gardens of
feel like maybe my expectations rose too high after that last track. It's alright. It's not blowing me away like the last one. Here's a weakness of this whole approach. This is now an admitted weakness on my approach. It's all relative within an album, isn't it? That song felt underwhelming compared to pretty much everything else I've heard on the album so far. But if that song had been on, like, say, Stars, I'd be like, oh, this song, S tier. The rest of the album, whatever, but this song. So the expectations, Judas Priest has a higher set of expectations in my mind at this point, to where, like, a higher bar, I guess. And I need to keep that in mind when I rate stuff, because that was a pretty cool song amidst a bunch of other songs that are maybe cooler. So yeah. That one just didn't catch me as much, but this is why I listened to it for a full week, because oftentimes if a song perplexes me a little or just doesn't quite grab me, the week of listening to it at the gym during my workouts, with my notepad pulled up on my phone so I can take notes, will separate out what was maybe just a little bit too complex for my brain the first time and I needed time to process it, versus things that just don't quite measure up. So we will see. If I was going to, I don't know what this album is going to rank at. I can't imagine that this is going to be a B tier album. I'm liking it more than Sin After Sin so far. But is it as good as Sad Wings of Destiny? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. On that note, Rolling Stone, Sad Wings of Destiny didn't make Rolling Stone's top 100. This is the lowest ranked album from Judas Priest on Rolling Stone's list. Screaming for Vengeance is their 12th rated metal album, right after Ride the Lightning, right before Iron Maiden. And I might know a track or two off of that one. And then British Steel, they have as the number 3 best metal album, right in front of Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, which is an amazing album. I'm very familiar with that one. Right behind Master of Puppets, which is an amazing album. I'm very familiar with that one. And of course, Rolling Stone put Paranoid as their number 1. Kerrang, on the other hand, Sad Wings of Destiny, they put as their 17th. Screaming for Vengeance at 46. Unleashed in the East, which is coming up at 64. And then Stained Class at 73. I mean, a lot of people recommended this album. And it did make both Kerrang and Rolling Stone. But it doesn't look like this is necessarily going to be the high point of the Judas Priest thing. I'm really looking forward to the next one, Unleashed on the East, for sure. All right, Beyond the Realms of Death. It's tempered my expectations. 13 million plays, though. I'm getting Fade to Black vibes.
Had enough. He couldn't take anymore. He found a place
How is it?
in his mind.
Scorpions are known for their power ballads as they move into the 80s.
No matter
Winds of Change and all that. And yet,
they couldn't understand.
Judas Priest knows how to slow it down.
They washed and dressed him, fed him a hand. I left the world behind. I am sinking in my mind. I'm Judas Priest with my own mind. This is my life. This is my life. I'll decide like you. Withdrawn his
Contrast. Great contrast.
into space. No sign of life. What flicker on his face until one day he smiled. It seemed as though with pride the wind kissed him goodbye. And then he died. Yeah, I left the world behind. I am safe here in my mind. Free to speak with my own kind. This is my life. This is my life. I decide that you keep the world with all its sin. It's not fit for living. Yeah, I will start again. It can take forever, 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 but I still win.
Kind of a power ballad solo, although it's heavier than just a regular power ballad. You can tell this is like the template, though, for so many 80s bands. And again, like a Fade to Black sort of feel. ever. So many of these bands are gonna steal that right there.
How many like him? Are there still who to us all seem to have lost the will? They lie in clouds and rank and lust. Is knowledge worth this bitter cost? Yeah, I'm sitting there in my mind, reading speech with my own kind.
Okay. Drummer's kind of doing the same thing a lot. But to be fair, Nico and Iron Maiden did the same thing. Another song. Yes. Okay. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if I love that as much as Saints in Hell, but it was pretty awesome. Yeah, the drummer, I guess the drummer's going to get replaced after 79. And I don't remember if this is the drummer everyone's saying is like amazing, or was the next one. I feel like it was the next one that people in the comments are saying that the drummer that comes in the 80s is like the iconic one. I've definitely seen some of the live footage of stuff in the early 80s of them playing stuff from the albums I've already heard, because I wanted to check those out and see how those songs evolved without, spoiling future albums. I definitely want to check out some live footage of this material, but I wanted to look up real quick when was Unleashed in the East recorded, because I don't want to spoil that album. It looks like that album was recorded in February of 79. So as long as I stick to 1978 concerts, I should be good. Because I want to see which guitar player is doing what. I really want to know that from my brain. I just like seeing how bands pull stuff off live. I like seeing their fingers. Feeling like that song is going to get that song was a huge influence on a lot of 80s glam metal. Like the some of the little things in there are going to get cribbed by all of the Warrants and White Lions and all of those bands that aren't necessarily super original. Makes sense though. I was also thinking during that song that, God, why did I never listen to Judas Priest during my metal years in high school? And really, like my high school band, there was two of us that started the band, and we started the band because of our mutual love of Motley Crue. And then I pulled in a drummer that I was in my grade. My guitar player was a year older, and my drummer liked Motley Crue, but was really into Rat. And so yeah, none of us were really into Judas Priest. And then when we started bringing in older musicians, lost that drummer, got a singer who was older, and then he brought in a drummer that was older, And that's what brought in like the Metallica influence and stuff like that. But still, nothing really from the 70s. And not even any of the 80s Judas Priest for that matter. But at that point, Judas Priest was kind of known on MTV as like, you know, Another Thing Coming and Breaking the Law, which were both of those songs are just a little bit cheesier, I would say. At least the videos were a little cheesy. So maybe they didn't feel as heavy. But this stuff, like some of this stuff, would have been a lot of fun to play as a high school band. And I mean, I certainly could handle the bass part. My guitar player mostly just went to his guitar lessons and had his guitar teacher teach him the solos, essentially, is how he went about it. I learned everything by ear myself. Right. So we're on the last track then. Hero's End. That riff. The mix is way better. Yeah, it's clear. The two metal bands of the 70s are Black Sabbath and Judas Priest. Between those two bands, they laid all of the foundations.
Will join the list. Hungry mouths are waiting. Bite the hand that feeds. And so the living
Excellent change. was looking at those last two albums for Judas Priest. Wow. I was wondering, on the other albums, was the second side just like way cooler than the first side? Because I feel like that's kind of the case here. Like the first side was cool, but man, 3 out of 4 tracks on the second side were just 3 out of 4 tracks on the second side were just killer. And so I wondered, like, was that true with the other ones? No, not necessarily. They're pretty consistent. The first one, well, second album, Sad Wings of Destiny. It's pretty consistent. 4s, 4.5s, and 5s all the way through, except for Epitaph, which is a nice change of pace, but by itself, it's a transition track going into Island of Domination, which is amazing. And then Sin After Sin, it looks like I bumped up the rankings on every single track the more I listen to it. I don't know if I've reflected that in the score. Let me crunch some numbers real quick. Okay, yeah, the rating I gave was the changed. I think I was tracking how much more the songs were growing on me the more I listened to it, because originally, if I had rated Sin After Sin based on my initial scores, which would be from after like my third listen or so, it still would have been an A tier album. But it was more solidly an A tier after listening to it for a full week. Cool. I was just curious about that. But yeah, clearly, like Black Sabbath, like they're like the foundation, the cement foundation that all of metal is going to be built on. And I feel like Judas Priest then is like the framing, the structural framing of what is going to be metal. Arguably, Judas Priest is arguably doing metal at this point. I don't know if I can say that about anything else. Also, that is to say that Black Sabbath would be the spiritual foundation, while Judas Priest is more of the structural foundation. I feel like this is a metal album. And none of the other stuff that I was listening to in 77, they have glimmers of metal. They have little hints of metal. They have little aspects of what will become metal, but not like this, not like Judas Priest. Kudos to them for really like forming the genre. Is it the heaviest stuff in the world? No. There's going to be heavier stuff, but that's going to be at the metal arms race of every band. Not every band, but bands constantly pushing, like, can we be heavier? Once we get into, like, early Metallica and Megadeth and stuff, we're definitely going to be hearing that change as they keep pushing the envelope heavier and heavier. And even before that, I've not listened to Diamond Head, but I've heard that Diamond Head is a huge influence on what's going to become metal, as well as Saxon. Diamond Head is 80. God, 80's a big year. 79, we got that Motorhead album. We got a couple Motorhead albums. One I'm definitely doing, one I'm tracking. We got those live albums, but then in 80, there's Saxons. I have never listened to Saxon, but I've heard good things. We got British Steel, which seems to be the one that the critics say is the best Judas Priest album. We got Iron Maiden's debut. We got Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, where Dio joins. I've heard nothing but good things about that. Ozzy Osbourne's debut. Angel Witch. Someone has recommended that. I've only gotten the one recommendation on that, so as of now, not in the queue, but tracking it. It looks like 80 is a big year. And that's where I think things will start to really take hold. What's the first Metallica album? '83. There's a few years there. When's the first thrash? 83, Metallica. That's the first album that I'm seeing that can be classified as thrash metal. Speed metal was already a thing before them. First speed has got to be not. Oh, that doesn't count. That's an album title. Motorhead's the first one classified as speed metal, and then Motorhead, and then Motorhead, and then Venom in '81, which is also the debut of black metal. So where we're at now in '78, it's all still classic. There's no deviations from classic heavy metal yet. And I would argue that most of it's not even really heavy metal. But yeah, 79 is where we start to get Motorhead speed metal, and I've been recommended to listen to Electric Sun, which is Roth from Scorpions' new group after he leaves, and there we got neoclassical metal. So we're going to start seeing divergence in styles in 79, a little bit more in 80, a little bit more in 81. Really, we don't see like major divergence really until 83 and then 84. 84, there's the first glam metal albums in 83, Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. The Motley Crue album before that isn't considered? Oh yeah, Glam in 81 with Motley Crue. But 84 got power metal, glam metal, speed metal, power, progressive metal. The first progressive metal album is in 84 with Queensryche. So it's going to start splitting. And then that split is just going to continue. Once Gen X moves into the picture, we're going to fracture it once and for all, to where classic metal won't be really a thing anymore. That'll be the exception, not the rule, once my generation gets involved. And I've already seen some people complain that my generation ruined metal. I humbly disagree. As part of that generation, I don't agree. I think that what we did with metal was kept it alive by the diversity, but and allowed for metal to thrive into the 2000s and beyond up to present day. But hey, what do I know? We'll see. As I go through, it's gonna be really funny in the 80s when start getting these very strong contrasting approaches to metal be like back to back to back. I'm looking forward to it. But hey, I'm going to listen to this album for a week, and I'm going to be right back to tell you what my final thoughts are on this Judas Priest album. In short, fucking A. Let's start with the production. With the exception of one track, this album was produced by a guy who apparently mostly did jazz fusion. It could have been heavier, granted, but the mix is impeccable. I can hear every instrument clearly and at all times. Zero mud. That's freaking impressive. And it lets the band be who they are. So while we haven't quite got to metal production yet, this is way closer than what we've been hearing with the hard rock approach, such as on the last Judas Priest album and on everything from 1977, except Sex Pistols, of course. Now the third track, the track that wasn't produced by the jazz fusion guy, Better by You, Better Than Me, that is in fact a cover. It was insisted on by the label for commercial potential. That it doesn't sound like a cover, I think speaks to how solid their identity as a band is. They made it their own. It's not my favorite track, but I still love it. I've listened to some live versions as well, and those are also really good. Like, the writing doesn't quite match the writing on everything else on the album. Now that I know it's a cover, I can kind of tell it's a cover, but I didn't realize it at the time. So kudos to Judas Priest for that. Right. So I am very comfortable putting this album in S tier, which isn't necessarily surprising. But what is surprising is that this album is having seismic effects on the entire timeline. 4 tracks, Exciter, Saints in Hell, Beyond the Realms of Death, and Heroes are all going on my Perfectly Metal playlist. The only other band that's pulled that off on an album is Black Sabbath. Not only that, but as I listen to that Perfectly Metal playlist, I'm realizing there's a lot of stuff on there that doesn't belong on there compared to this. It's knocking numerous other songs off the playlist, which is, in fact, lowering the ratings of other great albums. Now, not enough to change any tier rankings yet, but it might over time. Especially Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin have been coming off of that playlist because, frankly, as good as those songs are, they don't belong on a Perfectly Metal playlist alongside Black Sabbath and Judas Priest. And Scorpions, they're In Trance. I think In Trance I put on there, and it came up, and oh yeah, it belongs. The Rainbow track that I put on there, it belongs for sure. I think one Black Sabbath came off, but every other Black Sabbath song that came up totally belongs. So I was surprised by that. Yeah, those albums, they might still be S tier, they might be A tier, and they're still certainly influential to what metal is becoming. But yeah, they're not perfectly metal themselves. No albums have been downgraded yet. That said, I may need to go back and do separate episodes on specific eras of those bands, comparing and contrasting their albums as well as revisiting those rankings and ratings. That is something I'm planning on doing once I get past that next Black Sabbath album. That'll be all of the Black Sabbath albums in the original run with the original lineup. I'm going to go back and I'm going to revisit all of them, and I'm going to compare and contrast them, and it's going to be like a tier-based like competition to figure out what is my favorite Black Sabbath album now that I understand how they were going to develop and where everything went. I may do the same with Deep Purple, the Mark II version of Deep Purple. May go back and do that with Budgie. Yeah, Budgie as well. And as I move forward, I may revisit other bands in a similar way. The Uli Roth era of the Scorpions, seems like I could do it with that as well. Because, they fall into different categories and different tiers as I listen to them. But as I get to know them more, sometimes, like with Blue Oyster Cult, sometimes those earlier albums, I didn't quite get them when I first listened to it. But then as I hear how they evolved, I come to appreciate that earlier stuff that much more. So we'll see. Nice thing about doing that will be that I won't have the copyrighted music in the video, so I can potentially monetize those videos, which would be nice because I could use the money. Yeah, all of my habits don't come cheap. Talking whey protein and the other stuff, creatine's pretty cheap, but whey protein, that's pre-workout, that's a little pricey. My energy drinks that I drink, they're not cheap, so a little bit of extra scratch will go a long way, and I don't have to whore myself out to do it. So that's always good, because let's face it, I'm kind of aging out of that whole like horrible, no pun intended, lifestyle choice. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants to pay for this, except people who are completely brainwashed and by my dubious charms. Anyway, so next week is gonna be Van Halen. And I'm looking forward to Van Halen. Not as much as I'm looking forward to Rainbow, and not as much as I'm looking forward to the Scorpions Tokyo tapes, and not as much as I'm looking forward to Judas Priest Made in the East. And as you can see, we now got our first Motorhead album in the upcoming queue. So, like and subscribe if you are so inclined. Comment. I do respond to comments. It's just me. I don't have a team or anything. I'm a few weeks behind on replying to every comment, but I do and I will, unless you're an asshole. In which case, then I'll just delete it. Don't be an asshole. I've only had one so far that I've had to delete. They got political, and I was like, yeah, fuck you, gone. My channel, my rules. Keep the suggestions coming. With this album, I mean, really with these, I mean, the Judas Priest especially, but Rainbow as well, with the S tier albums that we're getting in the later 70s, I think we're starting to get some actual metal. Finally. It's not just proto-metal. We're getting some actual proper metal now. So I'm looking forward to how that is going to blossom into the 80s. So keep the suggestions coming. Make sure the album is influential to what metal is going to become. Much like with Van Halen, it's going to be the approach to guitar solos is going to be important to metal going forward. Let me know how you feel about my ratings, whether you agree or disagree. I love reading it. If you do disagree with something, let me know. I am always welcome to hear other points of view. That's not being an asshole. That's just being cool. I suppose it's how you do it, right? I have another channel. I put a link in my description. That's my video game channel. If you want to come support me over there, I have memberships as well, as you can subscribe, but you can also do a membership if you'd like. Members get early access to the videos. I do 2 videos a week and 2 streams per week. So I'd love to have you over there. And I think that's about it for this week. I hope you have a great rest of your whatever. And I'll see you next time. Ta-ta.